You're watching Underground Downtown, where you're living. Get ready to learn about all styles of music from local and national artists. UDTV, all styles of music, culture, and comedy. Your host for this journey is Wolfman.
Yo, this is Wolfman, and you're watching UDTV Underground Downtown Television, hanging out with a member from the Protomen. What's up? Who am I hanging out with?
Just call me Dean for today.
For today, but it could change.
It could change tomorrow.
I like that. You're living on the edge.
Well,
Can't be
look at this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared if you give me too many more beers.
That will happen. That might happen.
Yeah.
So you're from the South, right? From Tennessee?
We are, yeah. From Tennessee.
How's it being in Hollywood?
I like coming to Hollywood. It's like this magical, how do we explain this? Fantasy land, where people actually really live here and do real life things. But when I come through, it's like, I'm here for a day. Look at all the lights.
So it's different for you, right?
It's very different, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to New York often, and New York is different as well, but there's something about LA, it's the weather. It makes people crazy forever. That's what I always believe about LA, is that the reason crazy shit can happen and people live in such a different world is because the weather's always good.
It's the weather.
Your brain doesn't get 4 seasons out here. And anybody ever sees this, that is always living in LA, they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You go live in somewhere where there's 4 seasons, and you'll see how miserable life can be, internally.
Yeah, you can't have seasonal depression when you have no seasons.
Right.
Okay, so
everyone's consistently living on this fancy edge out here.
There's some actual logic to that.
There is actual logic to that.
Yeah,
that's what I think the crazy people are saying here. And the same people are crazy.
I feel like that's why I moved out. There wasn't enough crazy people. I needed one more.
Yeah. Where did you come from?
Florida.
Well, that's right. Florida. We talked about that.
Yeah, you guys, we actually based our show out in Gainesville, and you guys just played Gainesville.
Did, at the High Dive. So maybe a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, our lead singer was really sick on this tour. And this is like how we live crazy life, right? We're stressed all the time, driving all night, just being silly. And he was really sick. He was running fever and all this bad stuff that he couldn't figure out what it was. He was calling doctors. Called one doctor, and one doctor said, "Look, man, if after this show tonight you're feeling this way, you may have staph infection. And you've got to get to a hospital." So it was a show in Gainesville.
Right.
And he comes up to me and he's just like, "Can we make sure that we have somebody that can get us, take me to the hospital immediately if I feel awful after the show?" So we got a guy to help out that was just standing there and ready. And he came to me and the singer said to me, he said, "Don't let me die in Gainesville." He was bitten by a tick somewhere before we left for tour.
What, he's like banging chicks on the grass? I don't know.
No. He probably got it from mowing his lawn. So
I like my version better.
Yeah, your version paints the picture much better.
Yeah, it's a little cooler.
No, he's probably on the ground underneath a car fixing it. That's probably what was happening. But so when I think of Lyme disease and tick diseases in Gainesville, because we were all talking about this.
Yeah. And you guys are great for a college town. There's a little segue here with Gainesville. Yeah. Because you guys have, your music, we got to talk about that. Well, most bands, I don't like talking about their music because I figure people should know or just go look it up.
Right.
How do I even attack this? Your music is crazy, like video game, 18-piece.
Yeah, it changes piece-wise. On tour, it'll be 7 to 9 people, 10 people maybe, and then sometimes certain shows will have a lot more, like maybe 25.
The bigger shows? Yeah. I was gonna say, how do you get per diems for 18? I can only imagine your writer.
Yeah, well, a lot of people just do it for the fun of it.
And I was gonna say, you guys are a do-it-yourself band. You've been doing this for what, 12 years?
Yeah, about 12.
All right,
that's about right.
You went to school for music and stuff, and then decided, hey, I'm gonna use my degree for this.
Well, it was an accident.
It was an accident. Music always is.
It's always an accident because the way we looked at it was, everybody. Okay, so back then, college, and everybody knows this in college. Your hands are in 5 different things, right? I'm in radio, got a band, I'm trying to work on a degree with 2 minors, computer science, all this stuff. And then we're like, oh, this idea for a band, let's just make some stuff. And everyone has like 3 bands.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the other bands die off, and then one band somehow keeps going forward, and this was the band that kept going forward.
So who's the guy that comes up with the whole like Mega Man kind of video game thing? Because I think it's brilliant. I think if you hear about it,
yeah,
the audience is like, what?
It's very confusing to some people.
But I love it.
When we were starting this thing, getting together, making songs, he was like, oh, let's take characters and for this video game and make it a story. It's dark and epic and whatever. And most of the band was like, whatever, man, we just want to make songs.
We just want to do music.
And you know, and we had fun with it, and we said, okay, and then it became a concentration. Yeah. Well, this part of the album is, this is happening to this character. Well, then let's, how do we do this? How do we sonically do it correctly and not just be shitting out a song that just sounds a certain way? Because, like, the music has to be good first and foremost.
Well, yeah, and you recruited, like, all the best of the best in your music scene to play with.
Yeah,
guys,
pretty
right?
much. Yeah, we were kind of like I wouldn't say all-star group. We were definitely all people from bands, though.
Right. Yeah.
So when we had shows, we'd be able to bring a couple hundred people because everybody knew somebody, and there's 10 of us. So if everybody had 10 people that came, there's at least 100. And it worked out real well in our favor. How
did the costumes come about? Did anyone specifically design them?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like, you know, kind of a idea of like we need some kind of a uniform idea.
Okay.
And depending upon what album we've done and what we're touring on at the moment will depend on what we're wearing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so if you look at like certain pictures, like old pictures, we're wearing a certain Western style because the album at the time.
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah, and then like the next album came, and then we changed our uniforms.
Gotcha.
So when the next album comes, we're changing again.
Okay, and what do you got right now?
Stuff we've been having for a little bit, but that's not bad. It's because we're in a transitional phase right now.
No, that's good. You haven't launched it because the transitional's for Act 3, right?
Correct.
Okay.
He's done some of those.
I did a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, and then when that comes, things will look way different than what you think.
You're watching Underground Downtown, where you're living.